Hi friends, welcome back to the final video in your Self-Worth Codes webinar series. And it pairs beautifully with Minding Your Self-Worth, a loop for self-discovery, chapter 6, nervous system regulation and maintenance. Before we get into it, a refresher that I work as a somatic psychotherapist. So I work with the body as well as your mind, the stories that are going on with you, the patterns that are happening, and how these things express themselves through feeling, through emotion, through breath, even through movement. A lot of my work with my clients is with movement. I practice positive regard. I hold you in a very positive, high space, and my higher self meets your higher self and all of the other selves too. Codependency is another lens that I work with, and knowing that we are all codependent creatures, people, and knowing when that codependency is in balance for you versus when it isn't. And then finally, parts work. You have many parts at all times working within you, and what parts of you are sort of coming up and out versus or running the show sometimes, and getting to know like why what it is that's anchoring them, what's creating the patterns and the belief cycles that keep these parts of us coming up to sort of take over when we'd really like to be working, acting, living in a different way. So nervous system regulation is kind of like everything, right? We are all pretty much familiar with fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, right? These are trauma responses, but usually our responses when the nervous system is kicked up, right? Part of our system has told us something's wrong, and these are the responses that can take over. And nervous system dysregulation can show up in so many ways, right? And we're also talking about like beyond trauma, but just like capacity. Have you noticed that you're really tired or not able to participate in life? Have you noticed that your anger is so quick to the surface and you are just ready to scream? Have you noticed that your people pleasing and your other coping mechanisms are really sort of, again, up and close to the surface? Have you literally been in a state of survival, right? Not all of us are privileged enough to have all of our basic needs met at all times. Not in our childhood and not even in our adulthood. So checking into what is going on in your life and what is being activated. So let's do a body scan. Because you can't just tell your nervous system to regulate and to calm down. You have to show it that it's safe. And meditation is one of the great tools for that. So it's just breathing, right? Just breathing can help you regulate your nervous system. And it is the highest affirmation of your life, your breath. All right, so settle in to your chair. Close your eyes or keep them open if you prefer. And feel into your body. Your physical body, your energetic body. Big inhale, tighten, and then relax. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale. Tighten, abdomen, shoulders, arms, belly, perineum, everything, squeeze it. And then, one more time, inhale. And exhale. now if you can, begin to open up your inside eye and take a look around. What's happening inside of your body? Less emphasis on the thoughts in your mind, but just what does it feel like? Notice any colors. Notice the sensations. Notice the parts of you that potentially feel heavy. Can you allow them to just sink a little bit more? Your eyelids, your tongue, your jaw, your throat. Your neck and shoulders, your hands, let them be still and open. Your legs and your feet, let them be heavy, rested, still. As you continue to sort of observe your inside world, notice what happens when I say the word safety. Notice how your body responded. Your belly, your chest, your throat. And just notice if you feel safe inside your body. No judgment either way, just being curious. Breathe. And then begin to bring your awareness to your skin that is surrounding and covering your body. And does that feel safe? Then begin to bring your awareness more towards your energetic field, your aura. The space outside of your body, ranging from 1 inch to 10 feet. Does the space around you feel safe? Again, noticing any colors, any sensations that arise for you. Just exploring, feeling into, even trusting the information that is coming up for you. Continue to breathe. And then as you feel ready, you come back. So, some practices for you as you really start to feel into your safety, not only here, but around your house, outside of your house, at your work, with certain people, and then in the world. What is your relationship to safety, to self-regulation? How do you know when you're regulated versus when you aren't. Some easy tips and tools and places to rest your awareness. So, are you breathing? What is the quality of your breath? The depth, the length, smoothness. How calm does your body feel? Your heart rate? Are you sweating? Has your voice started to elevate? Or maybe it's gotten even softer? Do you feel parts of your body beginning to tense, like maybe armor? Or are you able to stay in sort of a soft, squishy place? And can you even remain sitting up, tall, erect, and soft simultaneously? Are you rooted into the earth, or do you feel sort of like you're flying all over the ethers? These are some really great things to just be aware of as you move throughout your day on whether or not you're feeling regulated. An example from my own life, I can think of when I would know even that I was going to go see people. They weren't even yet in front of me, and I would notice there would be an uptick in my cleaning, my other coping mechanisms. I want to get really small. Or I would sit down to look at finances and taxes and money stuff, and I would feel so disorganized. It was overwhelming to sit down and do that. Or transitions, coming home from work, and the kids needing stuff, and the phone ringing, and I'm hungry. How can I do all of these things at once? And I would try. I would put my head down and just fucking try. And end up screaming and then having to apologize, you know. So part of this is mindfulness, is becoming aware of what your own patterns are and what your triggers are. And knowing that you can tap into your breath at any time. Also, movement is another one that's not, if you're in a group of people or even in front of one person, it's not really going to tip them off too much if you just start gently swaying back and forth. It can be subtle, but you think about the act of rocking. I mean, we rock babies when they're upset. And so just this simple act of rocking can be really helpful to your nervous system. Humming. Creates this vibration in the body. Can be very soothing. It's working with your vagal nerve to calm, to reset the body. Same thing with audible exhales. You may notice you already do that in times of tension. And so it's like the body trying to regulate itself. Yawning. Gentle twisting. You think about the vagus nerve, it's running through the center of your body. So if you can just create gentle twisting for yourself. Tapping, EFT tapping, emotionally focused tapping, is an amazing tool to have in your own toolbox. It is similar somewhat to EMDR, but it's this bilateral stimulation with EMDR. We're activating both sides of the body. And then with EFT tapping, it's these energetic places on your body. For instance, top of the head, brows, temples, cheekbones, upper lip, lower lip, right beneath the collarbones, ribs, and then wrists. Now this might be a little bit more obvious in a group of people if you just started doing this. They might ask what the hell you're doing. In which case you could like illuminate them and change the subject altogether. There's some really helpful tools I recommend looking on YouTube. You can look up, for instance, like EFT tapping, regulating nervous system, stressful day, for instance, or overcoming anxiety. And those are a whole plethora of different videos that will pop up. There's also apps on your phone. I don't recall the name of it right now, but there's a few different apps that you can look up that can help you with these. And so you're going to say what it is that you want to call in addition to what it is that you are working through, and not blaming yourself, not blaming yourself and not holding on to it, but recognizing that you can see situations in a different way. And this helps to, again, reset the nervous system, reset your energetic body. Grounding can be really stabilizing, especially if you feel like, eat something, right? Get into the water, lie down on the ground, lie down. Get into nature if you can. Take off your shoes, go put it in the grass. I realize that's not always possible, right? You can put your feet on the ground, sit up nice and tall in your chair. Sort of visualize a line from the top of your head all the way down through the center of your body, extending out of your sacrum, extending down into the earth and rooting there, connecting with the very center, the very core of the earth. Can be very beneficial. Eating root vegetables can also just be really helpful. But laying down on the ground, roll around on the ground. Lay down on the ground and kick and punch it. Lay down on the ground and cry. Lay down on the ground and laugh. Right, but get grounded. Really helpful. Dancing. And all kinds of dancing, right? Whether it be more of a spicy, moving through your hips, that helps to, can help to move like trauma out of the body. Maybe that doesn't feel available to you. So like softer music with just like slowly swaying back and forth. If you want to dance with somebody and start to create a co-regulation between the two of you. But it's not dance steps necessarily that we're focusing on here, but it is the movement of your body to help you get into your body, to create circulation and breath for yourself, to get connected, and to regulate the nervous system in that way. Eye movement is another interesting and very useful tip I talk about it in the book. Looking up and then down. That's again this sort of bilateral stimulation where you think of something positive that you would like to, or that you can anchor to a positive experience that you've already had, and with something that you'd like to sort of overcome, right? This negative, harder situation. And how can you look back and forth between these two polarities? And that will stimulate the different sides of your brain and help to regulate. Ongoing, it's like, what are the environments that you're in? What are the messages that you're telling yourself? How can you be in this world but not of it? Is another, I think, really important tool, especially as our society is shifting. I'm thinking about here in North America and a lot of the political climate of what's going on, and a lot of people are thinking about safety. And how do we get safe in an area where we don't feel safe? And one of the things I talk about with my clients is sometimes we can have these huge sort of revolutionary moments where we stand up for what we believe in and we get really loud. And other times what the medicine calls for is for us to to be more gentle with ourselves, to check in with not only ourselves, but our family and our intimate community. And continue to work to do the things to nourish ourselves, our bodies, our mind. And that can be one of the greatest acts of survival and of resistance and of regulation. To be safety yourself, even when in an environment where you don't necessarily feel safe. And so if we're talking on the micro level of like, you're at your mother-in-law's house and it's feeling really overwhelming and she's super blamey and it's just like, I'm starting to feel dysregulated. How do I get out of this? It's like, how can you go to the bathroom and dance for a moment? How can you hum to yourself? How can you excuse yourself and go for a walk in nature or around the neighborhood? If we're talking about on a much larger societal scale, it's like, where do you feel safe? Who are the people you can trust? What are the practices that keep you grounded, but then also help you to recognize that you're not alone? I think is also very important. And speaking on the codependency part, it's like we do co-regulate with one another. So if you're feeling in a dysregulated state, maybe don't go hang out with a girlfriend that like wants to go out and party and do all the things. Maybe go find the friends that are chill, are calm, are quiet, are happy to have some tea with you, to sit down and chat about what's very real for you and happening in this moment, not to necessarily run away and go to the party. So self-care is a huge part of the self-regulation. And I do recognize that sometimes it is not only us in the here and the now, but it is how we were raised, right? And it is our family, and it is our society, and it is our generational trauma that is still affecting us. And so developing a practice of like, what's mine is mine and what's theirs is really important. I'm here to do my work in this lifetime with my family. I'm not here and available for any other work at this time. Or I'm here and available to have an open, honest, calm conversation. And when I start to feel myself becoming dysregulated, I know it's time to call for a pause, to recognize and acknowledge that I'm becoming dysregulated and that I need a moment. I need a moment to get back. Or when I'm sitting down to do my bills, and it starts to feel like, whoa, I'm gonna go make sure that I go for a run first. And I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna clear off my space. And I'm gonna set in an hour to do the work that I need to do. And then when that hour is done, I might be finished with my work, I might not, but I am done for the day, right? Creating this sort of container for yourself can be really helpful. I just want to look at the book for a moment to make sure there weren't any other, just thinking about like stimulation too. In our society, technology is huge, right? That's how we're meeting today. And there's just so much coming in at us at all times. So also noticing like, in terms of nervous system regulation, are you just like taking in so much information from social media, from the news, from what have you? And can you create, not forever, but temporarily, a break for yourself? Again, sort of container for yourself. And even taking time off from these things can be really, really helpful so that you can just, again, focus on the here and the now. Focus on like what it is that I need right now and not something else to distract me. And noticing also to your window of tolerance. Your window of tolerance is not the same as my window of tolerance necessarily, or his or hers or theirs or them. And notice that like what you need for your nervous system is okay, and it might not be in alignment with everyone else in your family or everyone else in your friend group, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong or that somehow you're too much or that you're not enough. right? Nervous system regulation can talk about like the lights are too bright, the sounds are too loud, that food is too spicy. Maybe not that one. I don't know. But just knowing that like whatever it is that you're needing, that's okay. And going back to boundaries, you're allowed to ask for that or to create that for yourself. Maintenance. I think I talked about this before, but you're not an onion, and yet we are onions peeling. And so some of the work might be totally new for you, and some of it might not. And you're like, why is this still coming up for me? And it's still coming up for you because you're constantly changing. And so maybe a new layer is asking to be looked at, potentially in a different way, from a different lens. Because how you look at something today might be different as how you look at it 5 years from now, right? We're, for the most part, changing. And our awareness is growing, especially if you're doing this work. And also, how you want to be supported might be shifting. So maybe it was a therapist for 5 years, but now you're feeling more like energy work and energetics, and Reiki is more of the direction that you want to be going. Or maybe you want to blend the two. Maybe before it was my self-care looked like chiropractic and talking to my friends, and now it's feeling more like I want to do swimming and singing, right? It's a whole myriad of tools. And there's so many different types of practitioners and things evolving constantly that are of the healing profession, right? And of different modalities that affect different parts of you. For instance, sound healing is so powerful to the vibration of your cells. And you might be like, that's not doing anything for me today, girl. I need some fucking help. Like, I need somebody to talk to me about something. And so like, that's just knowing what it is. But the more tools you can sort of have in your toolbox, the better. And the more healers that you have on speed dial, kind of the better, so that you get what you need when you need it. And your flavor can change. And so again, if you've been seeing the same therapist or same life coach for a number of years and you're just not feeling a change or traction, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad or they're bad. Nobody has to be bad or wrong or ineffective. It's just like, I'm needing something different right now. Kind of like, you don't need the same thing over and over again every single day. You have variety. Some days you want this, some days you want that. And as long as you keep listening to it, it is nourishing, right? It's like when the things become stale and they're no longer working. But also be open to trying something different. One of the great things for my own healing journey has been the use of plant medicine and psychedelics. But I recognize that's not for everybody. Also, being a therapist who serves and sits with clients in those spaces, it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not all the time. And it's definitely not for spiritual bypassing or like, okay, I did the medicine and now I can move on. It's like, no, these things keep evolving and like the integration into your life. And so just like each of these videos, if you listen to them again at various stages, they might land differently. They're gonna hit differently. And that's one of the reasons I named this book A Lube for Self-Discovery, because it is not the end all be all, but it's just another tool on your own journey. And you get to color your journey with whatever colors you want. So I encourage you to get curious, see what's available in your area, be willing to travel potentially, and how much do you want this work to be a part of your life? And also knowing that the work doesn't always have to feel like laborious work, but it can be fun, right? We can access deep things through holotropic breathing, right? We can access things through Reiki. We can access things through talk therapy. We can access things just standing in the kitchen, shaking your hips while you're making your delicious soup for later that evening. Like, it can be anything and everything. It can be fun. and it cannot be fun. But the point is that you do it because it's highly rewarding. Just keep going. I'm rooting for you, that's for sure. That's some of that positive regard coming up. All right. I'll see you again. Bye.